on for quite some time. And really, we need, as a people in the capital region, to stand behind one another and not allow people to be isolated and abused, have their tax dollars ripped off, have their rights abused, and just ignore it. We need to stand up for them and stand by their sides. And before our eyes, we've seen things unfold, and I don't want to give a huge speech for him, but we have had 4 mayors in, I think, 2.5 years. We have the current mayor of, one of the immediate past mayors. There's been so many immediate past mayors, but one of the immediate past mayors of Port Allen is in federal prison right now, and the former police chief is in federal prison. And there's a new mayor, but there's a lot of questionable things going on. And we have a group of city councilmen and some citizens who are, like Paul Riviere, on the alert, trying to let people know what's going on and to try to stop some of the bad things that are going on. And so this is an opportunity to hear from a gentleman who is on the city council in Port Allen. He served since 2005, so he's seen a lot of this unfold, and he's been there to try to really stop the things that have been happening. He's retired. He worked for the parish utility system in West Baton Rouge for a great many years, and he's an activist in the community, a ball coach, and he's helped the youth league sports activities and volunteered his entire life. And he loves Port Allen. He loves West Baton Rouge Parish. So he's a great man to be in the forefront of the battle. So we'd like to ask him to come up and tell us what's transpired in Port Allen and where things are now and where he thinks they should go. And let me introduce Hugh Riviere. Our name is Hootie.
It's good to be here, and I guess before I really get started, I'd like to touch on a couple of things that Woody alluded to. We are going through a rough patch right now, but I've always been of the belief that right wins out. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than you would hope, but eventually right does win out. Before I really do get started, I'd like to introduce a couple people. Even though they've introduced themselves barely, my daughter Abby is seated right there. She will be starting her 2nd year at Southeastern next month, and I'm glad to have her here. My mom, Eve Riviere, has been a big inspiration in my life, and she's been involved in more politics for the past 3 or 4 months than she's ever been in her whole life. It's kind of a tough situation, and I think it gets to her more than it gets to me. I have a fellow council member, newly elected last fall, took office January 1 of this year, and I tell Gary he kind of jumped into fire when it hadn't been a real good situation so far. We also have Claire Saradette introduced herself. I want to commend Claire. She was our chief financial officer for 34 years. Did a fantastic job. Budget time every year was just like a piece of cake, and that's how city government should be run. And but I'd like to get started on my remarks, and I have to admit I'm kind of surprised that I was asked to be here, but I do appreciate it. Just a little small town like Port Allen really and truly should not be in the news as much as we have. And I hope that I can fill in some of the blanks today that kind of left. A lot of you are only getting 5-10 second sound bites, on TV and radio, and that doesn't really tell the whole story. But kind of an aside, one of the things that the sound bites, the Port Allen being on the news as much as it has accomplished, has gotten my 2-year-old granddaughter Aubrey's attention. They live in Central. There's some people from Central here, and it's like it's sort of a sad state the way things are, but to me it's kind of cute and funny at the same time, because every time the Port Allen City Council chamber is panned on camera in the news, Aubrey, she stops in her tracks and says, "Mama, there's Papa's room." She knows that's where the council meetings are held. For a 2-year-old to pick up on that tells you you've been in the news a little bit too much. But it's I'm glad my kids are interested in this kind of thing, but it's also kind of sad that it came to this to get them interested in it, but that is what it is. The thing, what I'm really here for is to touch on, you know, the things that have been going on in Port Allen, and to be asked to speak before a group with Ronald Reagan's name associated with it makes me feel comfortable with it, that I'm amongst fellow conservatives. I think all of us as conservatives kind of have one goal in mind. I can only speak for myself, I cannot speak for all of you guys, but I'd like to assume that all of us are for good, honest, and ethical, effective government. And it's kind of a simple concept, especially as it pertains to a small city like Port Allen. It shouldn't be as complicated as it has been. And what's been going on, as Woody alluded to, our former mayor being in federal prison, former police chief, the past 24 to 36 months, I'm here to tell you, are not a true reflection of what Port Allen is about. Port Allen is a fantastic community of hard-working, honest people. And you go to the grocery store, you run into your friends, people you went to high school with, grade school with. A lot of people still call Port Allen home. And it's a good little town. And everything that's been going on for these past 2 years is believe me, is not a reflection of the truth of what Port Allen is all about. And I'll kind of try to paint a quick picture for you. When you're in Port Allen, if I walk out of my front door and walk less than 2 blocks to my west, you'll come to a street called Whitehead Boulevard. Whitehead Boulevard is like a postcard. It's a half-mile long boulevard lined with 80 to 100-year-old oak trees that create a canopy where if you go morning and evening, it doesn't matter what day of the week, 365 days a year, you'll see people of all ages. You know, toddlers, infants being pushed in a stroller, you'll see teenagers jogging, you'll see people walking, riding their bicycles, and right off of Whitehead Boulevard is Riviere Park with 2 huge playgrounds for kids to play on. That's to me what Port Allen is all about. That's 2 blocks to the west of my house, in my neighborhood. You walk maybe 200 yards to the east of my house, out of my front door, you'll be walking up the levee. You come to the top of the levee, there's the Baton Rouge skyline, there's the Mississippi River. And it's just, that's what, to me, is a true reflection of what Port Allen is. If you like small town living, to me, that's what Port Allen is about.